I got a sort of panicked call on Thursday from the contractor saying, "Didn't you get my message?" I said, "No." He said, "We're giving you a contract and we're doing a concert tomorrow and you have to play in it. Part of it is Stravinsky's Firebird," which is difficult. And so I spent like 18 hours madly learning this part. I called it my baptism by Firebird. One of the most stressful things I've ever been. Playing in a professional orchestra for the first time in my life. Playing Stravinsky. My goodness. Anyway, got easier after that.
On the next episode of Sideshow, we'll spend a couple of hours listening to the music and stories of multi-instrumentalist George Meanwell. He's a guitarist, a cellist, pianist, singer-songwriter, and no matter how much you tell him that you love his mandolin playing, he'll do everything in his power to try to convince you that he's really not that good at it.
Mostly in jest, I say, it's a folk instrument. How hard can it be? Right? That is definitely the peak of my mandolin playing, that particular track on that particular CD. Although from the strength of that track on that CD, this is hilarious, it became known that I was a mandolin player. And you know how people say the iceberg, like only 10% is showing above and 90% is below? With me, it's only the 10%. What you see, that's all there is. There's like not even another tune that I can play. I can play this tune, but there's nothing else.
Of course, that's not really true. George Meanwell can play pretty much anything you ask him to. He's kept one foot in the classical world and one in the singer-songwriter world since he began his journey with music. He's played with folk groups, symphonies, quartets, and pit orchestras since the 70s. He's insightful, he's funny, and he's a killer player with a lot of great tracks to share.
500 years ago, it was more common for people to talk about being visited by genius than being a genius. And I'm not saying that I'm a genius, but just that sense that you sit, and then there's something that comes from outside you, if you're lucky, that helps you do something. And so if you're there and it's not there, it's not because you're less of a person than you think you are, or than you thought you were, or what happened to my talent, or any of that stuff. It's just that in this particular moment, that external thing is not visiting you. And I think it's a really healthy way to think about creativity, because it just completely avoids all the negative stuff that we can do to ourselves when we're frustrated.
Check niagaracommunityradio.ca for showtimes, and make sure to follow Sideshow on Facebook and YouTube to hear the full show and past episodes. Sideshow on Niagara Community Radio.
I tore the apartment apart. Even a fool sometimes gets one more chance.